Hey guys, it's Dirk, founder of Developers Academy and creator of Total iOS Blueprint. Welcome to day number 3 of our 7 days Swift challenge. Wow, you are here up until day number 3 and I want to congratulate you on that because you know what? So many people who get a book and never finish the first chapter. So many people who get a course and never finish module 1. You are here. It proves to me, it proves to the world that you can do this. You are really serious about this, and I know that I'm talking to the person who really deserves all the best in the world, who really deserves success in this journey. So keep up, keep at it, my friend. You can do this. So today we're going to talk about loop in iOS, in Swift. Loop is one of the most important concept in programming, meaning that the computer, the silly phones is so powerful, right? This phone right here is thousands and thousands of times more powerful than the mainframe, the computer that takes us to the moon like 50 years ago, right? But this phone right here, even if it's so powerful, it's really dumb in a way that it will only do things as you tell it to do, right? Now we have more advanced things like artificial intelligence, we have machine learning that we can train it to do certain things, but still, we still not reached the kind of like the mark of really creating a real artificial intelligence agent yet. That requires so much more power, computer power. But now the computer, even though it's stupid, but it's really powerful. It's really good at doing tasks that we humans don't want to do. For example, I have a database of like 1 million students, right? And I want to send out to 1 million students an email saying that, hey, join me in this 7-day code challenge. Join me in this 7-day Swift challenge. Do you want to go, okay, here we go, this is my computer, let's open up mail. What's the first guy? Oh, Tran goes there, copy paste the email and then send the email. And then, okay, number 2, and stay for years and then you have email number 1 million. Well, that's not what you want to do, isn't it? But with loop in programming, you can literally write 3 lines of code and can accomplish 1 million things. So let's go ahead into our demo. Let's talk about loop. Again, remember to do your code challenge. If you're not able to figure it out, then good. Go through the code challenge solution video with me, and I'm glad that you are here with me. So let's go ahead into our demo talking about loop. Alright, my friend, bust out your Xcode and let's create a new playground. And for this playground, we call that loop. Here we go. So now, let's say I want to print out to the console the number from 1 to 100. How are we going to do that? We have to go print 1, print 2, print 3, print 4, and then print 5, right? Those kind of things. And it gets boring. It gets lazy. Right? We don't want to do that. How? But in programming, in computer, in every single day, you see that there are things that we have to do all over again. Imagine like you search for something. You search for something in let's say Amazon, right? You go to Amazon.com and you have around 40 or 50 million of items on Amazon.com. In order to search for one single item, you are going to have to loop through, or you have to go through every single item inside that. Of course, there is more efficient way to do that, but basically you have to find out if that thing exists or not, right? How you can go through 38,000 things, 38 million things without losing your shirt, so to speak. Well, that's what loop is for. Loop is ability in programming that allows us to do something again and again and again, and we can control how many times do we want to do that, or keep doing that until a certain condition is met. That's what a loop is for. So now let's solve this problem of printing out the number from 1 to 100. To do that, I'm going to use a for loop. And the syntax to use this thing is for I stand for, you can use index in 1 to 100 like this. Okay, and then we have curly braces. These curly braces usually is a chunk of code. Okay, these curly braces in Swift is a chunk of code. You see that in Java, in C++, in C, in almost every single language out there, except I think Python. Okay, so we have index from 1 to 100 like this, and inside this loop, we can see that we can use the index, so print index like this. Okay, and then boom, there we go. You see that we have from 1 to 100, just like that. Very, very simple. And of course, these things are above here, and then 1 to 100 is here. Now, inside this, we can do other things. Let's say I want to print something like I, and then I use emoji here. Oops, let me use this thing. Love you, like that. I still remember my my freshman year when I learned about programming, and I just do this trick to trick my girlfriend. And here we go. We print out 100 times the I love you. All right. So now let's have some more interesting things. Let's say we want to have an array of ages. So var ages equals to like 12, 23, 34, 45, 56, something like this. And we want to find the sum of these ages. Want to find what is the sum of these ages. Let's say it is starting from 0, right? In order to find the sum, we are going to have to calculate, we have to plus all of these things. We have to add all of these things together. So we have going to do sum equals, now this thing is going to be strange, so bear with me and I will explain this, okay? So we have sum equals sum plus ages subscript 0. Now why is that? Well, sum, it starts from 0, that's okay, but we have to add the previous sum to the next element of the array. So the first one is ages plus 0, so now it is 12, right? And then we have to sum equals sum plus ages subscript 1, right? So now sum, previously it is 12 over here, and then 12 plus ages is now 23, ages subscript 1 is 23, and we have 12 plus 23 is 35, and we are going to do that all over again. Sum plus ages subscript 2, sum equals sum plus ages subscript 3, and you see that there's error to prone. It is not a way to do this, especially if we have millions of numbers. Let's say we have these things, right? I'm going to copy paste just like this, just so that you see the power of this thing. So I'm going to copy paste like this, a lot of numbers like that. Okay, now let's see how many numbers are there inside this thing. Let's say we want to have over here ages.counts. Let's see how many numbers are there. 240. Are you going to typing in 240 lines of code? No way. Let's use a for loop. How we can use a for loop in this case? How can we use a for loop in this case? Our purpose, the goal is to add every single element inside this array to the sum, right? It means that we have to go through each and every single element inside this array in order to add these elements inside to the sum. Now notice the pattern from line 22 to line 25. We have this index starting from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 up until the last one here. Now what is the last index of the last element? The index of the last element. Yeah, the number of elements minus 1. The number of elements minus 1. And indeed it is 239. And if you want to check that, let's go over here, click into this I button. Okay, click of that, and 0 is 12. Here we go. And 1 is 23, 2 is 34, and we scroll way down here, and you will see at 200 and something here. Click that. 20. Okay, this is not working, so I will click this thing, and you'll see that there's this thing over here. And if I scroll this thing, okay, scroll, And there we go. 239 is 56, which is this guy, which is the index of the last thing. So now we have the index of the last element, right? So using the for loop with this guy, we can use exactly like that. So let's say we want to have let last indexed is the edges.count minus 1. And now we want to use the for loop. For the I stands for index, or you can use T, you can use any kind of things here. I will usually use I or J or K or index, those kind of things. Okay, so for I in the range from 0, now we are not going to use 1 because the first index is 0. From 0 to the last index, right? So it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 up until 239. And then we have the chunk of code right here, and Xcode will auto-complete that. Then we are going to use, now how can we access each single element inside this? Well, the for loop, which is run from 0, right? 0, and then execute this thing, it jumps back over here, it's increment into 1, right? And then it execute this thing, it jump back over here, I will be 3, and then it execute this thing, jump back 4, execute 5, up until the last index, 239, execute this thing, goes back here, oh, I'm out of the range, let's execute whatever the rest of this and skip this thing. Make sense? Okay, so let me go over again. It will increment this thing. I will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up until the last index, 239. Each time like that, execute this thing, goes back, execute that thing, up until the last index here. It will jumps out of the loop, goes into whatever the rest of the program is, and that is the for loop. And inside here, we know that we can use I. Right? We know that we can use I to access the index of the element. It will be 0, 239, right? You see that 240 times here because we have 240 elements. So yes, we can have, let's say, let the current element is the H's subscript I. And then we can use sum equals sum plus the current element, right? And then here, if we have sum, we typing in sum over here, and let's see, 8,274. I hope that you get that too, and that is the sum of an array of numbers. So now my little challenge for you before you go into the actual code challenge is, please get me the average of this array of numbers. The average of this array of number. That's pretty simple. Let's use let's average. That's pretty simple, except if you cannot spell average. Average is a double, and we want to have the double of the sum because it is an int, and we divide it by the double of the edges count, which is the number of numbers inside that edges array. So we have sum is this thing divided by the count is 240 is 34.475, and yes, that is correct. Okay, so that is how you use for loop. I know there's a lot of more things, but hey, the purpose of this module is how you become a Swift developer, and also just get you into the game, get you to know about programming, about just like writing some code, get you familiarized with these concepts. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to remember all of these things. Just get to know it. Just get to write it, see it, read the code, and then just like after those seemingly boring repetition, you find yourself very competent at that and very confident at that too. So go right down below this video, do the code challenge now, and then if you see that it's hard, yeah, it's hard. This code challenge is going to be really hard. I would say it's the most difficult code challenge ever since inside this module. So do that, spend around 30 to 60 minutes on this, and then you will come back with me and check with me. And if you don't think that you can get over this, just go back and do it along with me, right? We have 4 code challenge for you in this session, so let's do it. Come back with me and check with me. Alright, my friend, welcome back. I hope that you did the code challenge or just think about it, right? If you haven't spent at least 15 minutes on this, please pause this thing and do the code challenge. Just think about it, because these are incredibly important. And hey, if you are thinking about something like, oh my god, I spent like 3 hours on this course and I still haven't been able to build Facebook, then please, people at this point, like, you are learning this, it's around 1/2 of a semester at the college program introduction to programming course usually. So don't think that you are making progress like slowly. It's just incredibly fast. So don't be discouraged by that. And it's always hard to learning something new. It's always seem like you don't make any progress to learn something new. Just know that it is part of the journey. Just anticipate that it is part of the journey. So you just move on, right? So now let's do the code challenge together. Number 1, I ask you to generate 1,000 random numbers in the range of 1 to 1 million. It means that those random numbers, we have 1,000 random numbers, and those random numbers should be less than 1 million. How can we do that? Well, I put in some suggestions about a lot of things that we didn't talk about in the demo. One of those things is the way that we can get a random number is not we generate it, but let Swift do that for us. So I'm going to create a new playground here, because the last playground is getting slow, especially if you have a lot of loop going on, right? It takes a lot of operations to do that. So here I'm going to use a new playground, and for that let me show you some of the things here. Number 1 is how you can create a random number, and for that we use a method or a function called arc_random. And if you typing in that thing in, you'll see that it generates for us a number just randomly. And yes, if we typing it once again, chances are it could be different. Yes, because it is a different number, right? So now, but the request is it has to be from 1 to 1 million. How can we do that? Well, this thing is way bigger than 1 million. But we know one trick in math is that if we want to find something like in the range of less than 1 million, then you can do something like arc_random modulus, which is the remainder of the division, right? 1 million, 1 to 100,000, 1 million, like that. And you find out that this thing is 366,111, those kind of things. Okay, so that is the trick. Now let's create the array of 1,000 random numbers. We have an array of var numbers is an empty array of int, right? And then I'm going to loop through from I in the range of 0 to now from 0 it should be to 999, right? Because it is, we just need 1,000 numbers. Now you can do something different. Now from 0 to 999 it will be 1,000 elements right there, right? Or you can do less than 1,000. Then it still be I is still from 0 to 999. Okay, so this less than is, this range is from 0 to 9, some number less than 1,099. Okay, and then here let a random number to be arc_random like this, and we modulus 1 million, right? Now we have the random number, just some random number, and then we can append this random number into this numbers array. So let's do that. We have numbers, append the random, right? Let me check if we have other program running. Okay, random like this. Oh, this thing is going to be very funny. Now this, it has an error. It says cannot convert of type uint32. It means the unsigned integer 32-bit to the typed integer. Now what does that mean? Well, because the arg for random here, the type of that is not integer. The type of that is uint32, meaning unsigned integer 32 bits, right? So it can be from 0, because it's unsigned, from 0 to 2 to the 32 minus 1. Okay, I know it's like some crazy thing. You don't need to know about that. If you want to know about that, you can just Google that and we'll show you the explanation for that. But the trick here is we will cast it as an integer like this. Okay, just like the double thing when we find the average, right? And now it will be an integer and we can run that like this. Okay? Alright, so that is our numbers. So let's put it here and see if we have that number is running on. And come on. It's running, and here we go. This is our array of 1000 numbers, just randomly from 0 to 999, the index. Okay, so that's code challenge number 1. Number 2, find the average of these 1000 numbers. This should be simple. Let's find the average. To find the average, we need to find the total, or the sum, right? And I'm going to loop through from I in the range of 0 again to the numbers that count. And pay attention, I do the less than, because I just want from 0 to the index of the last number, and yes, it is 999, right? If I do it here, 0 to ... numbers that count, then going to be from 0 to 1000. Then if we access the 1000th element, it will crash the app because there's only the index, the last index is 999, right? So here it should be less than, like this. And we just have to total equals total plus numbers subscript I, like that. Okay, or there's a even better way to do this. We can just use total plus equal numbers subscript I. So we add the numbers here to the total. And now if I do the total like this, and okay, now playground is like that. If you type in one more line of code, you just run the whole thing all over again. And yes, this is some like billion times, or I don't know, 500 millions. Okay, now the next thing is we have to find the average. Yes, the average is just let average of numbers to be a double of total, right, divided by a double of numbers that count. That should be straightforward. That's number 2, find the average. Here we go, find the smallest or the mean of these numbers. The mean, I mean like the minimum number of this array. Okay, the mean, like MEAN, it's going to be a different game. So here we want to find the minimum of these numbers. So this is the code challenge C. Okay, so to find the mean, we need to go through every single element inside this array, right? So now let's go through one simple example. We have an array of 2, 4, 9, 1, 2, 4, 1, 9, 15. Okay, you don't have to type along with me. So how can we find the mean? Well, the mean, the first thing is we need to have a variable var mean here to store that minimum number, right? Let's say the var mean here should be 0. We initialize it. Well, we should initialize it to a really big number so that every number less than that you can replace it, right? Okay, so now the mean is like 9 billion something, right? And then we will go through this array. So 2, is it 2 less than this number? Yeah, if it's less than, then we store it into here because we update it, right? Now next thing, 4, is it 4 less than this? Because we find the mean, right? 4 doesn't less than this, let's skip. 1, is it less than this? Yeah, 1 less than that, update that. And let's say this is 0, okay, 0. And then 9, does it less than 1? No. Next thing, 0, does it less than 1? Yeah, updates that. And then we end of the array. And that's how you find the mean of an array. So here, we can use that thing, like the process that I'm running through these elements, these number with you. We can use that with a for loop too. So now the first step was that we have to have the mean, the var mean. It has to be the largest number that we have for an integer. To do that, we use a trick in Swift. We call it int.max, like that, which gives us the maximum number of an integer for Swift at least. Okay, and then we'll loop through the array for I in the range of 0 to the numbers.count. Okay, so it's going to be the first index to the last index, and then here we let the current number, I just do it in separate steps so you can see it. The current number is number subscript I, right? So we have I 0, then 2, 1 is 4, and then like that. And then we check if the current number is less than the current mean. Right? If it's less than the current mean, then we should update the mean to be the current number, because the current number is less than the mean. And then we have, as it goes through this loop, then we have the mean, right? So now the mean is, let's find that. The mean now is, let's build, come on. Okay, I can go, oops, here we go, 910. Okay, so the last one, let's go to the last one. The last one is to find the maximum number of this array. Yeah, it's going to be the same process, we just have to flip it. Instead of the mean, we have var, the max is going to be the integer dot mean, because in order to have the max, we have to compare to see if the elements inside the array less than the current max, right? And then we also go through the loop for I in the range of 0 to the numbers dot count, like this, right? Then we have let the current number is the number subscript I, right? And then if the current number greater than max, then the max is the current number. And boom, we have the max is now. That's great for that. Okay, here's the mean, here's the max. And just check that the mean and the max has to be less than 1 million. And yeah, this is very close. 999,189. This is 589. And you may ask, hey, why is this thing is different? Well, the reason why it's different is that every time, as I say, if we enter a new line of code, the playground just update and run the whole thing ever again, and that's kind of like stupid, right? But that's the way that the processor work. So just bear with it, okay? Or maybe because I have a slow machine right here. Alright, so I hope that you enjoyed this session. It has been a little bit long, but for loop is something that we use a lot, and we use it a lot with array. So here's another challenge for you is that, can you please delete all of these code or create a new playground? Do all of these code challenges once again. Try to write on paper or go through the code by hand on paper. Alright, my friend, that is that loop in Swift. Alright, my friend, that is that loop in Swift. Oh wow, that is not that is not an editing error. It's just a loop that runs 2 times. Wow, a programming joke. I hope that you have fun in this journey and have fun in this lesson. And today, I know it's kind of hard. It's hard to grab your mind around those new concepts. But again, if you find it hard, if you find it challenging, it's great. It means that your head is popping with new materials in your mind, that you are growing. Literally, in your brain, you're growing. So congratulate you on that. Tomorrow, right here, I'm still here for you. Tomorrow, we talk about functions in Swift. So let's go ahead. If you want to move on to the next one, well, go to the next one. Until then, go out there every single day of your life, learn new things, craft your ideas, and contribute to the world. And see you tomorrow here